They say children see things adults overlook, purity untouched by the noise of the world, intuition not yet dulled by fear or judgment. On a cool Sunday afternoon, a young mother named Lydia Marsh was walking hand in hand with her 3-year-old son Eli through a quiet suburban street. It was one of those small towns where everyone knew each other's names, where peace had a familiar scent. The autumn leaves danced gently in the wind, painting the sidewalks in orange and gold. Lydia smiled as Eli skipped beside her, humming an innocent tune only toddlers could invent. But that peace shattered the moment Eli stopped, his tiny hand pointing straight ahead, his eyes widening. "Mommy, that van looks scary." At the end of the street, a beat-up gray van stood half-parked by the curb, its back door slightly open. The windows were tinted so dark you couldn't see inside. A strange silence wrapped around it, too still, too deliberate. Lydia's smile faded. She gently tugged Eli's hand. "It's okay, baby. Let's keep walking." But something in her son's innocent tone made her glance back. The van's engine was running, yet no one was in sight. Her heart began to race. And then, the distant roar of motorcycles cut through the silence. Within seconds, half a dozen bikers rode into view. Their black jackets bore a symbol, Steel Saints MC. The townspeople often whispered about them, that they were dangerous, rebels, misfits. Some even said they were criminals. Lydia froze, holding Eli close. The bikers slowed down near the van. Their leader, a tall, broad-shouldered man with a gray beard and piercing blue eyes, parked his Harley and took off his helmet. His name was Axel Kane, though everyone just called him Ghost. He looked straight at Lydia, then at the van. "Ma'am," he said in a deep, calm voice, "you might want to step back." Lydia clutched her son tighter, unsure whether to fear the bikers or the van. Ghost signaled his crew, and 2 bikers dismounted. One of them, a younger man named Diesel, slowly walked toward the van, his gloved hand resting near the pocket of his leather vest. The tension thickened. Lydia's heart pounded. What were these men doing? Were they part of whatever was going on? But before she could move, Eli whispered, "Mommy, look, there's someone inside." Lydia followed his gaze. For a split second, she saw it too, a small hand pressed against the window from inside the van. "Ghost!" Diesel shouted. "There's a kid in there." The bikers sprang into action. Ghost yanked open the back door while another biker called 911. Inside the van, they found a terrified little girl, maybe 4 years old, bound and gagged, her cheeks stained with tears. Lydia gasped, her knees almost giving way. Eli hid his face against her shoulder, whispering, "Mommy," she was crying. The bikers moved with practiced calm. Ghost gently lifted the child out and wrapped his leather jacket around her. "You're safe now, sweetheart," he murmured, his rough voice trembling with emotion. When the police arrived minutes later, they learned that the van had been stolen earlier that day, and the little girl had been reported missing just hours before. The officers shook Ghost's hand, nodding with respect. But Lydia just stood there, her eyes wet, holding Eli close as she realized what could have happened, if her little boy hadn't pointed. As the ambulance pulled away, Ghost turned to Lydia. "Your boy's got good eyes," he said quietly. "Sometimes, angels speak through the smallest voices." Lydia smiled through tears. "Thank you, for what you did." Ghost chuckled softly. "Don't thank us, ma'am. We just followed the little man's lead." That night, Lydia couldn't sleep. She replayed the scene over and over, the van, the bikers, her son's words. And she wondered, how often do we ignore the instincts of the pure? How often do we label people by how they look, instead of seeing who they really are inside? Please like this video if this story touched your heart. Comment your thoughts below. Would you have trusted the bikers? And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life emotional stories that remind us of humanity's hidden goodness. A few days later, Lydia decided to find the biker gang, not to thank them again, but to understand them. Curiosity had bloomed into admiration. The local paper had called them angels in disguise for rescuing the missing girl, but Lydia wanted to see who they really were beyond the headlines. So, one afternoon, she drove out to an old warehouse on the edge of town, the place people said the Steel Saints used as their clubhouse. She was nervous, clutching a small box of muffins she had baked herself, unsure if showing up uninvited was a mistake. When she pulled up, a few bikers were out front working on their bikes. They turned as she parked. One of them, a tall man with tattoos running down his arms, grinned. "You're the mom from the other day, right?" Lydia nodded. "Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you again." Ghost stepped out from the garage, wiping his hands on a rag. His expression softened when he saw Eli, who peeked shyly from behind his mother. "Well, look who it is," Ghost said with a smile. "The little man who saw what none of us did." Eli giggled as Ghost crouched down to his level. "You know, kid, you've got a gift. You listened to your heart when others might have looked away." Inside the clubhouse, Lydia was surprised. There were no bottles, no chaos, no wild partying like the rumors had painted. Instead, the walls were lined with pictures of charity rides, toy donations, hospital fundraisers, and rescue missions. There were plaques from local orphanages and letters from families they had helped. Ghost noticed her expression. "People think we're trouble," he said quietly. "But we're just men trying to make peace with our pasts. Every one of us here has made mistakes. Some of us lost families, homes, or ourselves. But we found something worth fighting for, kindness." Lydia listened, moved beyond words. She had judged them, too, just like everyone else. But now she saw men who had turned pain into purpose. She asked, "Why help strangers? Why risk yourselves for people who don't even trust you?" Ghost looked at her for a long moment before answering. "Because once, someone saw good in me when I didn't. And it changed everything." He paused, eyes glistening. "So now, I look for the chance to do the same." Lydia felt tears sting her eyes. "You did more than that. You saved a life." Ghost shook his head. "Your boy did that. We just showed up when fate called." Before leaving, Lydia handed him the box of muffins. "A small thank you," she said with a smile. Ghost laughed. "You didn't have to, ma'am." But when she insisted, he accepted them with a nod. "You ever need anything at all, you call the Steel Saints. We take care of our own." As Lydia drove home, she thought about everything she'd seen, how easily people wear masks to hide their pain, how kindness can bloom even from the roughest souls. She looked at Eli in the rearview mirror, his little face peaceful as he napped. That day, she realized something profound: the world isn't divided into good and bad people. It's divided into those who act when it matters, and those who don't. Weeks passed, and the little girl who had been rescued made a full recovery. Her parents sent a letter of gratitude to the biker club, calling them guardian angels. It became a local story, one that reminded people not to judge by appearances, but by actions. Months later, on Eli's 4th birthday, a thunderous rumble echoed down the street. Lydia stepped outside and smiled. The Steel Saints had come. They brought Eli a tiny toy motorcycle, with "Little Saint" engraved on it. The boy's eyes lit up brighter than the sun. Ghost bent down and said, "Keep seeing the world with those eyes, kid. Never lose that light." As they rode away, Lydia felt something shift inside her, a faith restored, a belief renewed. That day, she whispered to herself, kindness doesn't always come wrapped in white. Sometimes, it wears black leather and rides a Harley. In a world so quick to judge, this story reminds us of one timeless truth: kindness isn't defined by appearance, it's defined by action. A child's pure heart, a biker's silent courage, a mother's gratitude, all threads in the fabric of humanity. So next time you see someone who looks different, remember, the heart you fear might just be the one ready to save you. True goodness doesn't ask for applause. It acts when no one else dares to. If this story touched your soul, like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life inspired tales that awaken kindness and hope in our world.